If you like what we do here, be sure to like and subscribe. Even support us on Patreon. Now let's go. And then we point at the camera and we say, "What's up, Pauper Commander players? How are you doing?" We are back with another Winner's Circle interview, this time with my man, TonisBolognis, Tony Tabor, Anthony Tabor. How you doing, buddy? We can call him whatever you want to call him. Just be kind and gentle about it.
Yep. I'm good with basically whatever.
Sweet. And also, like, it's you know, it's been a long time coming, I think.
Yeah, I've been trying.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe a dozen tournaments, maybe.
Yeah, we were talking in the pre-show for patrons, talking about like the good old days. Well, a portion of the good old days and how far back we go, and yeah, like, yeah, I get that. You know, it's not for the lack of absolutely trying and throwing something against the wall and seeing what sticks. Well, today we are meeting together in the aftermath, in the wake of the Cloudy Commons Cup 1, played out of, is it Monticello or Monticello?
Monticello?
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, I've always heard it.
Yeah, Monticello, well, you know, the famous presidential estate, Monticello, it's called that. And then, like, I have a small town near my hometown called Monticello. So, anyway, Monticello, Minnesota. Say that 5 times fast. It was hosted by Magus the Jank and a local game store. I'm trying to remember offhand, and I'm failing. Lewis Card Shop, Game Shop in Monticello, Minnesota. Jesus, the syllables with that one. We had 13 participants.
Yep.
So, of course, Tony comes in from Duluth, and you brought one of your buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was the tournament he's played in.
Yep. I came from Fargo, and I brought some locals and Dr. Seb Leaf, who's not a real doctor, but we'll call him that anyway. And a couple of folks locally, some from the cities. That's the Twin Cities, or Minneapolis, St. Paul, for you people who aren't from here. So yeah, I think it was a great outing. Starting a little small, but they always do. I never hold that against anybody. Even the Sanctuary and Common Cause started small. So yeah, let's get on to the thing. Because I need to shut up. So when did you start playing Magic? Let's start there.
I started playing, say, probably around Battle for Zendikar, which probably leads to the fact that Eldrazi is my favorite creature type in the whole game.
Yeah.
And that's what I played a lot of for a while. Just played with some of my buddies. Just random kitchen table stuff, usually 6-8 of us, making decks of just random garbage. And most of them had been playing for a while, but I came into it fresh and was just so scared of cards that nowadays I just laugh at. Like, the scourge of our games in the beginning was Vampire Nighthawk. That thing, it's impossible to get through. The flying lifelink Death Touch blocker. Like, what are you going to do?
It's a 2/3.
Yeah. Can't shock it. I didn't know about Lightning Bolt at the time. I know that, and then Gutter Snipe. Getting pinged for everything. What the heck? Because we didn't run removal. We just wanted to play our cool creatures, and I remember in the beginning, Terra Stomper was one of my favorites. It's a big, uncounterable 6/6 trampler, 8/8 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a monster.
And look at you now.
Yep.
So how did your journey progress from those early days where you're just playing big dumb value creatures? You know, they'll forgive me if I call them that. To this competitive absolute monster that you are these days.
Well, I played like that for a few years, did some Commander, and then the game store near my house, they had on Monday nights they had Modern, and that was the one night I had where I could play Magic. So I decided I guess I'm a Modern player, and started with Eldrazi.
Yeah, guess what, Ma? Eldrazi. Nice.
Yeah, but I picked a terrible time to start. I started, I think it was like 2 weeks after Hogak came out. I just had to fight Hogak for, I don't know, what, probably a month before it was banned, something like that. Here I'm running a completely colorless deck with 4 Leyline of the Voids in that I couldn't cast no matter what. You had to do it.
That sounds absolutely awful. I mean, it got better.
Yep.
So, how did you get from Modern to Pauper Commander?
It pretty much was the COVID shutdown. 2 days before COVID shut everything down, I was playing in a 160-ish person Modern tournament down in Minneapolis, and I was loving that. It was my first tournament ever. I got, I think, 42nd place, which wasn't too terrible for that. And then everything got shut down, and looking for stuff to play, I found a few Discords and started doing more Commander, but I didn't want to spend a ton of money. Searched up Pauper Commander, and I don't remember exactly when it was, but sometime I came across these videos from this group called the Tryhards.
Who are they?
I don't think they're around anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe they changed names or something. But yeah, I was seeing what you could do with cheaper decks, basically, and how much power there was. My first Pauper Commander deck was Soul Herder, which it was a fun deck, but a little slow. And then I built Zada, and then I got a little more speed, which I liked. Played Zada for a while, and then I don't remember when the league was, 2021, 2022 maybe.
I want to say it was 2021.
Sure.
Getting old, yeah.
But joining the Tryhard server and playing in a league, getting thrown in and tried out a couple decks, and then got here, I guess.
Those were, I recall that year, so whether it was 2021 or 2022, with the league and all of that stuff, that was like a great year for the format. Like community was growing, and everybody was like doing fantastical stuff. So I'm just taking a moment to reminisce.
Yep.
In that era. I hope we experience that again in the online space. Sweet. Okay. Reminiscence aside. So you're normally known for playing one particular deck, pretty much on average, but you didn't play that this time. You played Malcolm Roger. So I have a couple of questions. So one of which is, how did you come to playing that, like the realization, like this is what I'm going to play? And then kind of paired into that, the other known Malcolm Roger pilot is Jonathan. And how much does your list differ to his?
Well, for the decks differing, only because I looked today and compared on Moxfield, they're like 11 cards different. But otherwise, it's kind of similar. I mean, most Malcolm decks are pretty close to a lot of the same cards. You're just wanting something that's going to do damage, and you're wanting something that's going to turn your damage maker into a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I went with Malcolm Rograkh is actually I've been doing a bit of cDH lately, and I've been playing Stella Lee, and going fast in Is It is something that I've been liking a lot lately. And nothing faster than Rograkh.
Mm-hmm.
Which he, in a lot of my games, helped out a lot. There's a Springleaf Drum was probably my all-star the whole time. Having that with Rograkh was huge. And also having him to sack for edicts as well was real nice.
Oh, nice. Because I guess that would be a tertiary question relative to the partner selection. Because the most popular is Malcolm Kedis, and then the second popular is Malcolm Breaches, especially from Is It. So, that would just leave Roger in there at some unknown position. What is the benefits to playing Roger over the other Is It selections?
Being a 0-drop is the biggest thing. And like I mentioned before, Springleaf Drum. You can also run Infernal Plunge.
Mhm.
You can just sack him, get 3 red mana, help you turbo out Malcolm a lot faster. And then you've got like Perilous Research, draw spell, where you can sack a permanent. And that helps a lot too, having a 0 cost. I mean, not that he's always 0. I cast him for at least 4 at one time, maybe even 6. Just because I needed another body out, but it's pretty handy. That and the fact that when you have to pay 6 for him, it can be any mana you want. You're not stuck with colors.
Yeah, because I know for cDH purposes, you have a number of other rituals that are available to you that rely on, tapping or sacrificing or otherwise, involving a creature. So somebody asked me just this morning when I told them that Malcolm Roger had won, and they're like, why Roger? And I was like, I'll ask him tonight. Why Roger? So I did just that. I satisfied that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it just helps speed up some of the stuff, the ways to get more mana, and then being sack fodder. Or in a pinch, you can throw a Rune Stalactite on him, and you have a 1/1 trampling menace, first strike, attacker or blocker, which isn't the worst thing.
just the whole like 1/1 trample menace.
1/2. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
1/2. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten plenty of treasures that way before.
Nice. I don't know. I think I'd have to play it. I remember a conversation with Jonathan talking at some point in time at length that the speed, air quote, speed advantage that Rograkh, offers, but I can't recall off the top of my head the minutia of that conversation. So I'll just say that I'll trust both you and he on the enhancement, the speed enhancement of that in particular.
It's also allowed me to keep some riskier hands with things that use Rograkh to make mana, including when we talk about the tournament, my game 2 was a pretty ridiculous hand I kept.
Well, how much? Well, your 11 cards different from Jonathan's list. What would you be in different in with respect to like a regular Malcolm Kedis list? How different is that?
With Malcolm Kedis, I'm probably not running like Infernal Plunge because I'm not going to want to sack the Kedis because that's getting you your extra. That draw spell, Perilous Research. I don't want to sack any of my other permanents. Not anything that I can just recast for basically free. Close enough. That was kind of the main ones. I probably wouldn't run Moonsnare Prototype. That's another one that's turned on with Rograkh. Yeah, it's mainly just a few of the little mana things, and then sacking a creature.
Right on. Okay. So, I mean, I can see where that would improve, especially if you're heavily mulliganing, which I'm sure that you are. I can see where that would improve your rate of keepable hands. Okay, that makes sense to me. At least until I forget tomorrow.
Yep.
Because I'm old.
Yeah, happens to the best of us.
So, relative to the tournament, I suppose that you said you had some notes, so I suppose you have notes relative to your tournament experience, if I'm guessing correct. Yeah.
Not as much as I wanted, but...
Yeah. Well, what are some notable things instead of pigeonholing you on like Tell me about turn one, round one. What would be some notable moments that you have written down in your notes that you'd like to share regarding the tournament?
Well, like I mentioned before, the turn 2 that I kept a 5-card hand. It was probably the best the deck has ever done. My hand that I kept was an Island, Reckless Fireweaver, Lotus Petal, Izzet Signet, and Springleaf Drum. I ended up having to keep a 1-lander, but that turn, I played my Island, my Springleaf Drum, Rograkh, tapped that for mana, cracked my Lotus Petal, got the Izzet Signet out. So I was able to have 3 mana on turn 2 to get Malcolm out, which worked out great. I never drew another land that game. I had 1 land from the start, and that was it. And I won, I think, on like turn 5.
Because after that, you dropped the Fireweaver and...
Nope.
No?
Didn't play that until the turn that I won. I played Malcolm, so I could get him out to try and do some damage, just to get some treasures. And I top decked a Magnum McKin Artillerist as another pirate, so I could get 2 in 1 turn. Unfortunately, the Artillerist, after I got a treasure with it, got killed and then exiled from our graveyard. Because that is a win con. It was one that I'd be a lot further away from, seeing as I had nothing in hand, but I was able to get through, got a pirate changer, and then I basically just played the Fireweaver, changed it to a pirate, swung with Malcolm, and won the game.
Nice. And you said that's the fastest you've been at, like, turn 5?
I've gotten wins sooner, but that was probably the fastest hand that I kept. Able to throw out all those pieces right away. And then, again, still, it's wild to me that I won with 1 land.
What was your matchup? Who are you playing against?
I was playing against Stormclaw Rager in first spot, Young Pyromancer, then it was me, and then Lazav, Familiar Soldier.
So this sounds like your round 2?
Yep, that was round 2.
So what was it like playing against the I didn't get to see much of the Lazav deck, but I overheard the Lazav player like talking, and they sounded like they kind of knew the business of what they were trying to do. So they sounded like a skillful. You could tell by the way that they, people use words and stuff like that to describe the game state, board state. That he was a pretty good player. I never got to play against him because I was a big loser. But would you say that it was a challenging pod? It
was a little bit. The next 2 were a bit tougher because I played against him 3 of my 4 games. So he had a beat on me the whole time. Exactly what was going to be going on with my game.
Oh, that's right. He didn't play in the finals, did he? No.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I had him rounds 2 and 3, and then he was in the finals with me.
That's right. It was your round 1 yeah. So yeah, obviously he's going to be watching your every move. What of the decks that you saw, which one would be the most surprising to you that you saw?
I would say probably the Young Pyromancer was probably the most surprising thing I've seen. And he was doing good with the deck. It was getting kind of scary for a while. So I played against him twice. In the finals and in second round.
I always find I wanted to ask him, I never had the chance to, but why Young Peasy over something like TPI that gives you 2 colors?
I actually asked him that when we were done, and he had never heard of TPI. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna switch to that."
So great minds think alike, and so do we. So good, you did a guy a solid. So good. Because I mean, I'm not saying that Young Pyromancer is like horrible, but I mean, why not have the extra color?
Yeah.
Why not when it does the exact same thing? So, what were your thoughts on a surprise if you haven't looked at the data out there, my fellow PDH enjoyers. There was a Tatiova in the top 4. That was an interesting time because I think there was at least 2 games where Tatiova was in a pod that was pushing time. Oh, and that reminds me, I wanted to clarify for you. Had I known what you were, so there was a point where you were knocked out and you saw something in the game and you were wondering if you could interact, because typically dead players don't interact and what have you. But I think in retrospect, so the premise was someone used a merchant scroll to search up a sorcery. When they can't search up a sorcery, they can only do flash or an instant. I think it would have been appropriate for you to point that out in real time, even as a dead player. I didn't know what it was, what you were trying to communicate to me.
And I've never been in that situation before, so I didn't know exactly how to go about it.
Yeah. I mean, I would presume to overly simplify it. If somebody takes an illegal action that's just generally known to be just illegal, regardless if you're in game or out of game, I think that's appropriate to interact with that. So no, and that changed, I mean, for at least 2 minutes anyway, changed the outcome of the game, and forced them to pivot to actually win the same way, just a different line. So
Yep.
no, Tetiova was super interesting for me to see. So I don't know if you feel exactly the same way.
I played Tatiova for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fun deck.
I did too. I just don't know whether or not, with the speed of this current meta, generally speaking, that she still holds muster. But I mean, I can't talk much at the moment because top 4.
I mean, they did get a win. They got to the final.
We got to the finals. Now, you guys, did you have any more notes that you wanted to cover in any of your gameplay? I didn't want to.
I guess game 1, I kept an awesome hand, and it's a game where Rograkh came in handy. I was in 4th seat against an Abdel Blue, Hollow Marauder, and Sprite Dragon. But my hand I kept was Dizzy Spell, Reckless Fireweaver, Ingenious Artillerist, Mountain, and 2 Islands. I was like, I know I got this, I just gotta wait. But that game, Hollow Marauder was running some edicts, and then they also had, which is a very unfun thing to get under, they had a Tortured Existence out and a Stinkweed Imp. So they were getting back all their sack creatures whenever they wanted. For that one, I cast Rograkh for, I think it was 4 or 6. Because I just kept having to have him out because I couldn't lose Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I lost Malcolm once, but I didn't want to keep losing Malcolm and then lose my pingers. So that game, I just had to wait because my first turn draw was a Pirate Changer. Like, okay, I got this. I got to just sit here, just get myself mana and wait it out. And I won that game, and I think it was 4th. Or in the finals, the same way. One of my favorite ways to win with the Malcolm decks here is everyone expects you to go to combat.
Mm-hmm.
And something I've done, trying to, tell the magician's secrets here, but I will go to second main, I'll play my creature, and then I'll pirate change it. And people think that I'm not going to have a way to get anything, and then I play Seed of the Synod. And that's my artifact coming in. They can't interact with the land coming in, and
yeah, it's already passed. Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
So I was able to do that twice in the tournament, which was nice.
See? 4D chess. This is a shout out to Adam Beachbod God 69, where we talk about privately we talk about 4D chess and these little secret parts and pieces. Look at you, big brain.
Yep.
you got brain so big you have to cover with hair.
Yep.
Brain not big. No, that's pretty slick.
Yeah, that's a handy way because you just need an artifact coming in. It doesn't have to be you make a token or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
and and interact with the land, so it slows down a little bit. I guess might as well go over. There's just 2 more rounds. Turn 3, kept a 2-land hand. I was against Lazav again, Mystic Enforcer, Tatyova, and then me in last place.
Mm-hmm.
And that game was terrible. I kept 2 lands, and then I had a bunch of cantrips.
Mm-hmm.
It was 4 turns later, I went through 9 cards in my deck before I got another land. And that one just wasn't going for me.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting 2-shot by Mystic Enforcer. And that was one of the games where Tatyova won.
Interesting thing about that game is had Adam not pressured the Tatyova player to go faster, it likely would have been a draw.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, I don't know exactly what the point spread was going, into the 4th round, but it's a high probability that at least 3 of you would have played each other again, if it was just a draw. So the things you do, not knowing the outcome.
Yep. And then part of me getting 2-shot was I tried to interact. I had a dizzy spell that obviously I wanted to use as a tutor,
Mm-hmm.
but tried to at least shrink the Enforcer and got beat by a crop rotation into the protection land.
That's
that was not something I was looking for.
Yeah, that's it's nice that you bring that up, because I think he just recently was questioned on why he plays crop rotation into those utility lands, and this is why. So, I mean, do you think you were overly focused in that game because of your previous, how scary you were?
I think it's more the fact that Malcolm can kind of win out of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably mainly what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Tatyova is coming a mile away. You can see that. And then Lazav was a Voltron list, right?
It was kind of. I couldn't quite tell what it was. It was a little bit control-y. But there were definitely a lot of spicy creatures that you could turn Lazav into.
I know.
That's a cool deck. It's one I'd like to look into.
And you guys, moving into the finals, you guys decided on a split, and then played it out for funsies to see who would come out on top for points.
Yep.
And obviously, you are the victor. I hear secondhand, of course, that it was a little bit of a slog fest. I know that, and I feel somewhat guilty for doing, but I left in the middle of it. Because when you guys started, I played a cPDH game, like a pickup game, and then when I finished that pickup game, you guys were still playing, and I'm like, I'm hungry and I'm tired and I want to go home.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% wanting to split, but knowing that I played so many games against them and they'd seen the deck and they knew what was going on, I didn't think I would be sticking around super long. But yeah, that game went long. Tatyova was cast for 13, I think, towards the end. I got 12 Malcolm damage on Tatyova. Like, it was a long game.
Who was taken out first?
Tatyova.
Just because
that was
just because they knew. I mean, you guys knew that if it got to a certain point, there's a little bit of inevitability there.
Well, Lazav probably should have been attacking more, but Lazav was like a 9-10 or something like that. So no one's able to swing into that. Especially like young Pyro having little 1/1s. Like, that's not going to do anything going there, sending him to the grinder. And almost all of the creatures that put the lands into play for Tatyova had been in the graveyard or exiled. So like, there wasn't too much there. So Tatyova really wasn't doing a ton. Every time I was going to swing, I was trying to get my mana with Malcolm. And there's like 5 red mana up for young Pyro. There's like 5 mana up for Lazav. I was like, these are kill spells. Like, I'm not going to swing there. Like, Tatyova's not being a threat, but I definitely don't want to risk losing Malcolm swinging into these other two. So that's why I kind of kept focused there. But I mean, there was always a fear with Tatyova seeing as there was, well, casting for 13 mana and there still was like 6 lands untapped. And one of the lands was Mystic Sanctuary, like the whole game. And I played that enough to know you don't want to have a land putter in and Mystic Sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. Or even seeing part of their list. I didn't get to see most of their games, but the fallback is still Ghostly Flicker.
Yep.
Yeah, so like, I mean, which can come out of nowhere. So no, that's I think that well, here, I'll let you answer this. So how would you compare your play experience in person at this particular event to what you typically experience with Sanctuary or Common Cause?
I definitely played against much different decks, which was the same case when you and I went to RIW last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just in-person meta is way different than online. Online, you're seeing more of, not that I really consider much meta for us, but like meta decks. You're seeing a lot more Simic Untapper combos. You're seeing more Malcolms, that kind of stuff. A lot more Abdels. I think there was only the one Abdel here. It was just on the blue.
And that's a list that I gave him to play. So yeah. So he's a manual dexterity player. So he likes to do all the triggers and stuff. No, the reason why I asked, I've had this conversation lightly over the years with folks, and I think it's somewhat an unfair assumption by solely online players to have this expectation. It's an unreasonable expectation that the variety of metas out there are going to be similar to what you would experience in this purely online scenario. Because I don't know, I think the Wild Westness of in paper is the thing that makes it interesting. Mm-hmm. Because you're gonna show up with your Weavers, highly polished, highly tuned, competitive online meta deck, and you're just gonna get trounced by Rocco slivers, right?
Yep.
So I find that sets up a conversation that I find simply fascinating, because it begs the question: if you're a competitive deck, built under competitive circumstances with competitive intention, and you get trounced by a Rocco slivers deck, are you really a competitive deck? And that's a nice little thought bomb that I like to come back to, especially when we have these irregular in-person events. So, I don't know. One day we might be infinitely more in person than we are online, and then what?
Well, I think what happens is us that play online, like, it's people who are really into the format. When you're playing in person, it might be someone who just goes to that game store. They're like, oh, I can put a deck together. I don't really know what the format is, but I'll play this thing that I think looks cool. And I think that's kind of what happens with the in-person ones, which is nice because I like seeing more than just the same 5 decks.
Yeah. I mean, some could argue that I don't know. I mean, maybe you can't, because do you feel like the threat assessment wasn't there for this particular event?
I don't know. I feel like some of the threat assessment was doing pretty good. My first game, Abdel 100% had the opportunity to stop me, but they tapped their mana wrong on a spell on like the previous turn. So I only was able to get away because they had a white mana. They used a blue flicker instead of a white flicker. They had both in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I got lucky with that one because I kind of just sent it without trying.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, with that one, when I won, I had a second pinger on artifacts coming in, and I had Dizzy Spell in my hand. So like I can just try again the next turn. I figured I'd send it, but But I was kind of focused down a little bit in most of the games. People kind of knew what was coming.
Yeah, I know. Matt, the Abdel player, and Tony Vogel, the Hollow Marauder player, I tried to coach him up on. Tony's a really good technical player. I don't know if you got to experience that in your games with him, but I tried to, like, because they're not used to seeing all the things.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, here's a rundown of the things you should be looking out for. So I tried my best to enhance the experience for all by providing a little coaching prior to.
Yeah, that's what I was most afraid of round one. Hollow Marauder is a deck that's a lot harder to fight through than any other combo decks. Or Sprite Dragon, which was the other one in the pod.
Mhm.
Like, if I'm getting swung on with that, worst case, I block with Malcolm at least. But the Sprite Dragon deck isn't making me sack my creatures. It's not making me discard cards.
The fact that
I want.
The fact that he had Tordex plus Stinkweed Imp kind of makes me happy for him, because being able to recur and constantly Edict, that sounds chef's kiss. That sounds like amazing.
Yeah, I got real lucky. I was watching him. He had the stuff. He was able to return. He could have made us Edict twice in a turn, but instead he Edict once, and then I think he either played a creature or made us discard. And it's like, okay, that's awesome. Double Edict would have sent me back so hard. It would have ruined everything for me.
I'll see him tomorrow. I'll have to tell him that you should have double Edict, man.
Yep.
Right on. Okay. So you've been playing, is this your first like tournament outing with Malcolm Roger?
Yep.
Okay. So is there anything relative to your experience that you would change in the list? Like, what is that looking like now compared to last week?
As of right now, I don't think there's much that I would change, other than maybe swapping out a cantrip or two. I have experimental augury in there. It's okay. It's not bad. It lets you see stuff, but I don't care about the proliferate on that. So maybe if there's something I can find that would draw me or dig me like one card deeper. So I think that one's just 3 instead of 4 like Impulse.
So is that the preference for your cantripy things, is to see as many cards as possible, regardless of whether you keep them or not, just being able to see them?
Yep. Yeah, just getting a little bit more selection is kind of what I was looking for.
Because you don't
especially
need,
like I said, that one where I couldn't find any lands for like nine cards I went through or something like that. I spent 4 mana and delved 4 to Treasure Cruise. Like, it never feels good to Treasure Cruise for 4 mana. But sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah. And in that deck, for those people that are curious about card selection versus card advantage, the goal isn't to load your hand up. I mean, obviously, if you could load your hand up for 2 mana, then we'd be doing broken stuff all day. But the goal is to see and get the right card at the right time. So, no, I
4 or 5 changers, and then I've got probably 6 or 7 tutors. So as long as I can get to one of those things, like, that's really what I'm looking for. And then from time to time, it's lands. I only run 28, which is a little on the lower end.
Yeah.
Normally, most of my decks I do 32.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of greedy on pretty much any deck I'm playing. But yeah, 28's low.
Jesus, how do you live with yourself?
Apparently it works.
got a mulligan like super hard. I mean, I suppose I have one deck that I'm experimenting on low land count, but it's making up for that in like 1 mana land tutor spells. So all you need is 1 mana in hand, and the rest will go.
You got to remember, I started competitive as a Tron player. I'm used to mulliganing to 3-4 cards and still getting Tron and winning the game.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that's something that's definitely helped me stop being as scared mulliganing. Like, I kind of have a little bit better idea to like kind of see what I need to make work out of my hand.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I too played a lot of Modern Tron, although mine was well before the Rograkh era. So it wasn't even Eldrazi Tron. It was just Karn, and I think I stopped playing like a few months after Ugin was released. So if I had testing the old memory.
Yep.
So what's next? You said you don't feel like changing much on the deck. Well, does that mean that we're just free and clear to start, put more reps in with it, or?
Probably that, but also I do like switching around on decks a lot. Like, it probably doesn't look like it because most of your data you've got, I've done so many games on Vhal, but that's something I wanted to get it to a spot where I was really comfortable with it. And as of right now, unless I print anything else or Malcolm, it's probably going to stay about the same. And then I mentioned to you, I'm looking at Malcolm with a black partner, so
nice.
Maybe look at that side a little bit.
Nice. And we already know that you're not going to be available for Sanctuary at the end of May 2025. So that would put you available for Common Cause, potentially, depending on what date that starts up. And then do you have any plans on traveling to like Philly or Vegas or anything like that?
I'm going to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a fun time. Be nice to meet up with people and play in person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got to do at SCG Con. It was nice to put faces to people that I've been playing with online for a while, and just jam some games.
Oh yeah. What about RIW? Are you traveling this year?
Not this year. Vegas is going to be my big travel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
as fun as RIW was, but I got to let you go back and be back-to-back champs.
I won't be able to make it this year. My wife is a specific type of dance instructor. I know it sounds salacious. Click subscribe below. No, so she's teaching a Ukrainian dance camp. It's a 2-week camp. And RIW is due to fall like in the middle of that. And I'm not going with her because we both work remote and I could just work from her dad's house. I'm not going with her because we have animals, we have pets and what have you. So if she's gone, I can't be gone too. So, but I think it's funny that historically speaking, the person who won RAW is unable to travel for whatever reason the following year, opening up a shot for a new person to take the championship. So in fact, there's my rabbits making noise now. I had to like look over my shoulder to figure that one out. So
yeah, it'd be fun to travel, but already ditching the wife and kids for 5 days to go to Vegas. It just did them this last weekend. Like, I can't go away that much.
Well, I mean, this one was driving. I mean, and I suppose that's another opportunity too. I don't know exactly when Magus is going to have the next iteration, but I suppose that within the next 4 or so months is not out of the question.
I think it was trying to go towards August. And then I'm trying to build up a local community here other than just my main play group that I just jam PDH decks into their regular PDH one. But I did have a local store here that was going to okay me for running a tournament. So
nice.
But I just want to at least get somewhat of a local base so we can get some people that are going to be here. That would be ideal for me.
Well, I think depending on what day it was, I'd have to secure a place to stay, but like it's 4.5 hours. I could travel that. Little vacay weekend.
Yeah. 1 second here. My son just walked in.
Yay! So while he's talking with his son, we are a family friendly channel. Don't be afraid when kids walk into the room. We'll stop saying all the F-bombs and turn off the pornography, and we'll just go to regularly scheduled programming. And then awesome.
Sorry about that.
No worries. You could probably hear me. You could probably hear me in your head. No big deal. No big deal. You'll be able to hang out with Dad. I'm sure. I'm sure here in a few minutes. So okay.
Hopefully he goes to bed. But
no doubt.
We'll see here.
Better get
Got his first field trip tomorrow.
Wow.
He's in kindergarten. He's so excited.
Oh, so he can't sleep because he's so excited.
Yep.
That is so sweet.
I'm pumped. A couple weeks ago, he read me his first book because he wanted to play Magic and Pokemon with me, and I was like, "Once you can read, we'll play."
Sweet. So look what I did, Daddy. I can read. Nice.
Yep.
As I was leaving the Lewis card shop, there was a lady who was looking through cards, and she had like a newborn. Newborn babies have that like plum color to them.
Yep.
I mean, like brand new baby, and it was funny. She had them in the carrier, like sitting right there up against the card stuff, and she was kind of using the carrier to set stuff on. And I was like, there you go, start them young, let's go. And she just started, extremely gut laughing. So no, we're big. We're big on starting the kids, into this habit of despair and frustration as soon as possible. Increasing their levels of anxiety beyond superhuman levels. Yes, we're all about that here. Okay.
Yeah, it was funny leaving the game store for that. I got like my money and my winnings and whatnot, and I ended up just buying him a Pokemon.
Nice. Oh, because they had because they had the plushies, right?
Yep.
Those were supremely popular with so many people. I saw like two of our guys bought a plushie, and then I saw like at least 2 more people buying them. So I wonder, do they come stuffed with money? Is that why
they don't? But looking at the tags on them, the tags were in Japanese. And so I'm assuming they were imported, and the U.S. only gets like the more popular Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of why people were happy.
Oh, because they're they're hard to collect, and you got to collect them all.
Yeah.
I play the video game on the website, the smartphone. Yes. Yep. I have not collected them all. Right on. So, congratulations, my friend. It's about damn time. Once you get your first one, if you're anything like the rest of us, it'll be another like 6 months before you get another win. So, or a year.
First one, though.
Yeah. Super sweet. I am super glad I was at the event where you got to take her on down. Got to see you kind of navigating the course, the field of other players. I got to watch only after you were knocked out, but I got to watch a game that you were involved in to some degree, which I can understand where that would have been a trying circumstance to play in. So I don't know, maybe you got lucky in the fact that you got to kind of rest and relax. Those other players didn't get a break. They had to go straight into the next game. You got a break for a little while. So
yeah, needed it for that last game. That was such a grind.
Mm-hmm. So no, I'm super glad that you got to eke one out. I've got I didn't add your particular list to the. I need to make a decision on this. Something I've been thinking about. Instead of having one representative list for every commander that is in a top 4, why not just go ahead and like put all of the top 4 list from all the different people, so that way you'd have comparatively more things. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I gotta go back and
Give yourself more work.
give myself more work. But I think eventually that's on the plan. So, I mean, I think you're already on the Decklist database for Vhal. So, and I'm going to have, because you're going to give me all the links to all the socials and Moxfields and all that stuff, and I'm going to put that in the link below, so that way if you want to check out any of Tony's lists, because he's super interesting deck builder, focusing on, there's that thing I was going to do. I was going to say niche. What I'm trying to say, what is the word I'm trying to say? Ill-focused, no. Decks that, I was trying to say it neatly, but the probably the best way to put it is commanders that don't receive a whole lot of love, but have a high potential viability. That's where you're going to find Tony living, is in that nexus between not much attention, but competitive viability. And he's going to be right there, brewing the things up, getting it done. So any last thoughts for the people? Beefcake?
Can't think of anything. Just go for it. Just go for the win. Make them stop you.
Make them stop you. If you're not winning, you're losing.
If you ain't first, you last.
Yeah, that's exactly where that came from. Look, Ma, I'm going fast. Sweet. All right, my friend. Thank you for joining us tonight. To all you folks out there, really seriously, go check out his deck list. You will not be disappointed. Truly a fantastic player. I'm super glad that he was able to finally get into one of these. I try to, do them in such a way where you, the people out there, can relate to somebody else that you see on the screen. Tony here is super relatable. If you do the same things that he does, play the same way that he does. If you learn lessons from things that he does, you too can be successful. That's the goal, I think. I don't know if I articulated that very well. We're getting at 9 o'clock. It's usually bedtime for Clay, and that's why my brain is mush. So until the next time, my friends, Tony, thank you again for joining us today, and we'll see you guys in a bit.
Yep. See ya.